Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com, and I'm here to share with you my outside the box ideas that I created with the November 2021 Paper Pumpkin Kit from Stampin' Up, titled Gifts Galore. These kits, which are delivered straight to my mailbox each month, contain everything that I need to make fun, creative paper crafting cards and projects. This month's kit contains supplies for making 9 generously sized treat packages, 3 of 3 different designs. Each kit contains a publication like this one, with directions, full color illustrations, details about the kit, and a link to a how-to video so you can assemble your cards or projects as shown. The kit also includes inks and stamps that can be used again and again, even after the consumables are used up. This November kit included a Flirty Flamingo colored ink pad and this exclusive stamp set. I received this large clear block in my first Paper Pumpkin kit to use with all my future stamps. That tool and my scissors are the only extra items that I really need for completing my kits as is. But you'll notice that I substitute that block for the ergonomic Stampin' Up! Blocks. I also use my larger version of the ink pad and some additional adhesive, such as my Stamp and Seal. You won't need these, but they are available products from Stampin' Up! And they're a bit easier and quicker for me to use while I demonstrate in my video. The kits are a Stampin' Up! Product, so the colors, images, and supplies always coordinate with many other products they have. I'll be using some of these in the alternate projects I create today. You can find the items I use listed below and linked to my online store, along with links to learning more about Paper Pumpkin kits, starting your subscription through me so I can spoil you with exclusive ideas, gifts, and prizes, joining my Paper Pumpkin fan club on Facebook, where you can see even more alternate project ideas shared daily, and if you're watching my video on YouTube, a link to my website where I've shared photos of the projects you're going to see today. By the way, if you're looking for ideas for past kits, visit my website at StampYourArtOut.com, click on Paper Pumpkin in the top menu, and then choose Recent or Older Posts. I've been creating and sharing alternate projects since March of 2013, when Paper Pumpkin first began. I'm excited to create, so let's get started. First of all, I've noticed on the Paper Pumpkin fan club, where people are already sharing, that you can take and cover up that green nose. If you don't want a green nose on your snowman, which a lot of people aren't choosing to have, they're taking orange cardstock or a dark yellow type of cardstock and covering it up. And so I thought I would show you how to do that. This is our ombre specialty paper, and it's actually the darkest portion of the yellow sheet. So you could use that if you wanted a little bit of glitter, or you can take some pumpkin pie cardstock. And what I'd recommend is just kind of eyeballing where that carrot starts and where it ends, and going a little beyond, and then just cutting up about 3/8 of an inch, and then over to make a rectangle. And then you can either take an angle like this, corner to corner, or you can take and go towards the center and towards the center. You can do kind of a little rigid line if you want your carrot to have a little bit more natural look. But then once you get that triangle and you've checked to make sure that it's longer, then you can kind of round out the end. And it looks as if it's been inserted into the snowman's head. So that would be the quickest way to make the carrot nose. Another quick way to alter that snowman just a little bit is to not take and put the paper clip directly on this round circle, but to put it directly onto the snowman's body, and then to use the dimensionals that come in the kit, because these are optional. They give you some dimensionals that you actually don't need according to the directions. So you can take and pop off a couple of these, maybe 3, and place them here and there, and then make another snowball down at the bottom of your snowman to connect that fun sentiment. And then your paper clip can be right here, showing just a hint of gold with your fun little twine piece there. We're almost done fancying up our snowman, and what I've done is I've added the glittery nose with a portion of a dimensional and then a glue dot. And I just used the glue dots from the online store, dimensionals from the kit, but you can use dimensionals from past paper pumpkin kits. Same with glue dots. You can access them by being a subscriber regularly. And that way, with the glue dot on this end, it looks like the carrot is entering the nose or coming out from, entering the face or coming out from the center of the face. How did I get those fun little buttons and eyes? So you can see there's a little bit of dimension to them, and they're glitzy. So what I did is I used round and square brads. They come in these large squares and the tiny little round size in black and in white. So we're going to grab one of the black ones, and we're going to just add it to a piece of cardstock, just so you can see how that works. I'm going to use my piercing mat, my Stampin' Pierce mat, and my cardstock, and poke a hole with my Take Your Pick tool. And then I'm just going to put those two little legs of the brad into the hole, just like that. Turn it over, open up those little prongs there, and I can flatten it down. I can also flatten it down even more so by using like a clear block on my hard table and just pressing, and that will really flatten out those little prongs there on the back. Then what I did is I added the shimmery crystal effects, and I recommend doing the brads into your snowman first and then adding this so that it has time to dry. So when it comes out, it's kind of more of a cloudy look, and it will dry clear. So you just kind of put it on like that, set it aside to dry, and you're set to go. If you look at the back side of my snowman, only 3 of the prongs are showing. That's because I altered this one a little bit where the eye is. So I'm going to tell you how I did that. I just took a really strong scissors. This is a scissors from, oh gosh, years ago, Stampin' Up! We used to have to cut into the rubber to assemble stamps. And so this is just one of those scissors that I've just saved because it's nice to cut my metal pieces with it. If you have a nice strong scissors, I recommend using that. And you're just going to cut the prongs as close to the base as possible. And then, after you've done that, you're going to come in with your bone folder, and you're going to press that metal down like so. Just flatten it out. Once you've flattened it out, then you're going to use that same crystal effects because it actually acts as a glue. And you're just going to put a little dot there and add this. In fact, let's just grab the little sticky end of our Take Your Pick tool to pick this up and just add it right on top like so. Okay, and now after that sits for just a few minutes, then you can come in and you can add the crystal effects on top. And then you've got this, oops, wrong cap. And then you've got this fun glittery-eyed snowman. So we're just going to add that onto our box, and we will be all set to go for that fun little treat container. Speaking of products that are in your kit that you can also find in the online store, besides dimensionals, we have this tape too. So Stampin' Up! Doesn't often put this type of tape into the paper pumpkin kits, but I find it is one of the best beginner tapes ever. It's much easier to use than the Stampin' Seal. You just tear it off, put it on and tear it off, and then peel off the backing. Super easy. We call it tear and tape adhesive. So if you need more of that, you can access that. And then I had to tell you, so these little bags here that come in the kit, they are almost exactly like our 3x9 printed gusseted cellophane bags that you can get. So if you're in need of more of these bags, then you can go with those. They look almost exactly the same. It's time to dive a little bit deeper into our alternate projects, as I always do. But first of all, let me just show you that you don't need to be online in order to get inspiration. You don't have to be in the Paper Pumpkin fan club to get inspiration, although I highly recommend it. But on the back side of your direction sheet, you can see that there's all kinds of fun little ideas here too. So here we have a banner that you could create. You could put your images on top of a folded piece of cardstock to create cards. And here, this is a fun little gift card holder. They took the cellophane bag in the kit and cut it down to form a little tiny pocket, stuck that onto the front of this little stacked gift image, and then tied some twine around it to hold it. Of course, probably taped the back side of it too. Stuck a gift card in there and a little tag, and now they have a fun way of presenting a gift card. So, making cards. You get a ton of these little guys. So if you are not a 3D person, you love to make cards with all your paper pumpkin kits, this is going to be a wonderful kit to do that with, because for every single box that you can make, you get 2 of these images. So you actually get 6 of the snowmen, 6 of the trees, and 6 of the stacked gifts. Altogether, that's 18 different images, and they're huge. So you can even cut some of them down. Let's start with some cardstock here. We're going to use our 8.5 by 11 basic white cardstock, and we're going to score in one direction. So we're going halfway to the 4 1/4 inch mark. I've already got a score line in there, but we're just going to score it again. And we're going to score right through the middle, and then we're going to cut in this direction. So we've scored once and cut once. Now you can start this way, score, and then turn it and cut, but you'll just get your card opening in a different direction. It'll end up being the same size though. Okay, so here we have our card front. You have 2 card fronts from each kit, okay? All right, so now let's bring in, I've got a pool party card right here. And you can see just by adding that little snowman how you can turn it into a card. Now it's big, it's a super huge snowman, so you can't put the whole thing on the cards that we typically make with Stampin' Up! Products, but you can take a good portion of him. You can just add him onto the card front, turn him over, and slice off the extra. Gosh, then you have some fun little patterns, I don't know, some polka dot little blue pieces that you could add as strips. So there's one idea. You could take and add the trees. And you can add, I'm sorry, the trees. I already got ahead of myself. So you could add your tree like this, so that it's kind of like a portion of it in there, right? Just kind of like what we did with the snowman. Or you can take and cut your tree in half. So just flip it over. Try not to get distracted by the look of the tree, but flip it over, kind of eyeball the center, and slice through that puppy. What did I do? Oh my gosh. And then you can add your tree to the front of the card. So a lot of people are getting lots of mileage out of adding half trees to 2 different card bases, right? You just snip off the extra. I kind of like the bottom showing, although you could go like this instead and snip it off there if you'd rather. But you can get some fun card embellishments. Now with this guy here, he, or she, I don't know, is it has kind of a white background. So we don't want our gifts to really appear like they are, I don't know, you could make them appear like they're separate. You could go like that, just like we did with the tree and the snowman. But I kind of like the fact that they're stacked on top of white cardstock, because this gap in here sort of gets camouflaged that way, right? You could also cut them down. So how do we do that? Let's take our paper snips and start cutting. This one here obviously needs a little bit of white around it because it has a bow. So as I'm cutting, I'm coming through here and I'm including a little white edge all the way around. When I get to this spot here, it gets a little tricky, but you can go close for a minute and then you can come back out and away. And now some of you are saying, but what about the other gifts? All right, so there, now we have a white border around that one. We can do the same thing with this one. In fact, I'm going to just go in a little bit further here. I know, right? What about the other gifts? So, but these 2 have little holes in the center, and it would be really hard to get in there and kind of cut out the center if you wanted to go right to the line. But with the other gifts, you can take and go right up to the edge, because you don't have to worry about having that white edge at this point, since you don't have something that is kind of, showing the space behind. So just go ahead and cut directly up to the edge of the gift packages. And those are easy cuts because they're just straight lines. So once you've got these all cut out, you're going to have this look here. So you have all these little presents like that. So you can make, gosh, you could make 6 cards out of them. Although putting them onto a card base like this, I mean, it might be kind of big, but how cute would that be? You could just put a little present down in the corner, put a little sentiment down there, add a little bling. Perfect. 6 cards from one of those designs, right? Or if you wanted those designs to appear a little bit larger on your cards, we could take and use note card size, gift card size. This is taken from a sheet of 12 by 12 basic white cardstock. So let me show you how to cut that down. If you want to make 8 cards quickly from one sheet of 12 by 12, you're going to take and score first at 3 inches from one side, and then 3 inches from the opposite side. Then you're going to cut down the middle at 6 inches. You can stack your cardstock. This is not the thick basic white, this is the regular. And so it's a little bit easier to cut all the way through. And then you just cut every 3 inches, and you quickly have 8 gift card size cards ready to go. Now you pair these up with some little 3x3 envelopes, and you have a ton of little gift tags ready to decorate for your Christmas presents. Let's start with this one first. Let's bring in our Flirty Flamingo ink pad and the To From stamp. And let's grab our little tiny gift here. We're going to take and add this just with some regular adhesive, some seal adhesive. You could take and use your tear and tape adhesive in your kit. And we're going to add it to the side like that, as if it's standing. The little tag is hanging down, right? And then we're going to use our Flirty Flamingo ink to stamp the To From right to the top. Then on the inside, you can add a little message if you'd like to. Very quick, easy tag, easy gift card tag thingamajigger. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to fold with my bone folder so they lie a little flatter as I work with them. Okay, this one here, same thing, but this time let's bring it up onto dimensionals. I'm also going to change out the color. I'm going to use Evening Evergreen instead. This is a nice dark color that coordinates with all the imagery in your kit. The next one, we're going to bring in this guy and we're going to add him flat. The white is going to blend into the white background. Oh, and oops, let's just say I made a mistake. You can also turn your cards this way, so they open like that. So let's go ahead and ink up our To From and put that on the front. And then let's bring in that little snow image. So cute. So we're going to fancy this one up just a little bit more. Adding some snowflakes here. And maybe like right in, maybe at the top. And just because your present has a little bit of a white outline around it does not mean it has to lie flat. So now let's make this one pop up. And before we actually add it, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of stamping on the background, which is why I brought in the grid paper. So let's grab our Pool Party ink again. And we're just going to kind of do a little splattering of snowflakes going through, as if there's kind of, I don't know, a little bit of wind. Like that. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's so fun. And on the inside of that is where you can put what you want to say. There we go. We're going to go back to the Flirty Flamingo ink, and I'm just going to show you these stamps here. even though they look really big, if you angle your block over the top of them, you can pick it up and you'll have your whole image on there. The Merry Christmas is a little bit closer to the corners, but it still works. So let's ink up our Happy Holidays, and this time let's go right across the fully open card. And then on the outside, we can stamp some pink little snowflakes. And there's that one. Okay, and then I'll do one more, just a variation. Now you see how this gift here, it does not fit completely. Well, it does if you want to go like that. You totally could do like that. But I'm going to go ahead and just tape it down directly onto the front of the card at an angle. Kind of fun, right? And then you can just take and trim up the extra like that. And now we have that one. These are super easy to make. The smaller your canvas, the quicker it is to do some little art. Okay, let's bling them up. So what I did with this first one is I added that shimmery crystal effects in the dots of each little polka dot on the gift. And when that dries, I'll be able to touch it, but it'll have just a very slight shimmer to it. That takes a while to dry though, so if we want something sort of instant, you can see what I did with these. I added a little bit of bling to the center of each gift. And those gems, which are pretty unique, they kind of have like a bluish, greenish, I don't know, color here. And then these are definitely more on the blue side. But they're called garden gems, and they're only available for a limited time. They're super pretty though. So get your hands on them if you want them. And then on these, I just used basic pearls kind of mixed in with the snowflakes. And so, yeah, the pearl basic jewels is what those are called. Don't forget to add in your 3x3 envelopes if the gift card idea appeals to you. And I had to go back and put some finishing touches into making these cards. So this is what I did. I added some snowflakes on the background for the pool party cardstock with pool party ink. I added that carrot nose. I'm going to use just a little Stampin' Right marker here and add a little bit of, I don't know, there. Now it looks like a carrot. A few little lines makes it look more realistic, right? Okay, so that one's done. I just added a layer of basic white on the inside, stamped it with the Flirty Flamingo and the pool party. And then for the next card, I added a couple presents stacked on top of some basic white. This one is up on dimensionals. This one is not, so it appears more in the background. Stamped this with the the Evening Evergreen ink and added some pearls for a little bling. No need to add a little layer on the inside. That is a simple yet stunning little card, isn't it? So this one I got a little bit, I don't know, it didn't go in the right direction. So what I decided to do was trim upward into this part of the gift. You can see by trimming those pieces in half that we had some issues down here. Now I could go ahead and just cut straight, but I like that thicker white line around it. So instead I'm going to cover up that little flaw. So I'm going to bring in some of this red satin ribbon, and we're going to use, oh gosh, about 12 inches of it. And we're going to start actually from the inside, but we have to see how far away we need to be on the front. So if we're going to cover up that little section right there on the gift, we need to go up about, oh gosh, maybe a little over 1/8 of an inch. So let's take our tear and tape adhesive, and we're going to run that tape right along the inside upper portion here, like that. And that'll help hold the ribbon on the inside because it's very close to the edge of the cardstock, and we don't want any kind of issues happening there. And then let's see, we don't need very much on this end, but we need more on the other end. So we're going to tape that down. This one's going to get tucked under, so we don't really need a lot. And I already taped this down, so I can't lift it up, but we're going to just trim that off and tuck it under. And we can use a bit of this tear and tape adhesive again. Just add a little bit right here. And that solves that problem. Now we just need our sentiment on the inside. So we grab our Evening Evergreen ink again. Presents are so fun, right? Actually, you could put that on the outside here if you wanted. Let's do that. And then we'll add some pearls. There we go. There's our third card. And then we have, so we got 2 out of that one. And then we have this piece right here, which I've already wrapped some ribbon around. This is again that red satin ribbon. I need to add a layer of white on there. But I've got my half tree here, and I want the bottom to show, but I sort of want to have it not go all the way to the very tippy top. So I'm going to cut right about there, like that. And I'm going to tuck it under. So let's go ahead and add our seal adhesive. And I've already got a tag started here. I'm going to use my Merry Christmas. Where did that go? Here it is. So you can see the Merry Christmas really goes from corner to corner. I inked up just the Merry and stamped just the Merry down. And I think I've cleaned it off. Yeah, that looks good. And then we're going to ink up with Poppy Parade now. I'm introducing Poppy Parade ink, which is the red color. I know that we used real red ribbon, but they're super close to each other. And we're going to go ahead and stamp our Christmas right underneath there. And now I'm taking about 16 inches of the Poppy Parade twine, and I'm tying that into a bow. I haven't cut, oh, I folded it in half, and now I'm tying it into a bow. So I'm pretending it's all one string even though it's cut, or I folded in half. And I'm going to go ahead and clip that. And we'll add that to the front. I ran out of dimensionals, so I had to bring in some of my scrap dimensionals from my drawer. And we're just going to add that right up to the front of the card like that. And then let's bring in those pretty embellishments, the garden gems. I forgot their name. And we've just added a few right through here, a large and a small, and then a small up there. I did have time to add my white layer on the inside. Now this one got a little beyond. This I blinged up quite a bit on the tree. You can see I added some extra ornaments. I have ribbon on this side as well instead of on the opposite side over here because I'm covering up some adhesive that I did add to put my layer of my bag. I got that from the bag. I just trimmed it up. And there is a little section here where it's not long enough, so that's where I stuck my tag down. And so there are 2 more cards. So I got 5 out of just 3 of those. Just 3 of those. Oh my gosh. Crazy, right? So let's say you end up using all of those treat box fronts and backs, right? And you make a bunch of cards from them. This is what you have left over, these pieces. So we're going to go ahead and just stamp some snowflakes along here. Ignore the fact that I was rushing. It's getting close to Thanksgiving here, and I have limited time to put together this video, but I have so many ideas I want to share with you. So yeah, you're going to have to just deal with that flaw. Let's go ahead and use the bone folder. And now we're going to bring in that piercing mat again, the Stampin' Pierce mat. And we're going to grab some coordinating ribbon, or you could use cardstock or whatever. This is our Flirty Flamingo, what's it called? Flirty Flamingo metallic ribbon. And you don't need a whole heck of a lot of it. We're going to fold it just a little bit over itself on the end. And we're going to put it down at this little spot right here, somewhat in the middle, so that that tucked end is disappearing. Okay, so we're going to cover that up. And we're going to go ahead and poke a hole. And then we're going to grab those brads. Let's take a white one and poke it through. And then we need enough for a handle. So I'm going to say about this much. Let's see, let me measure that for you. About 8 inches total is what I'm using. This is going to be the tricky part here. Oh, it's a good thing we have 8 inches total. I think we can make it work. So we're going to fold it over again. You know, I did not have a lot of these ideas in mind when I first started the video. I had a whole separate other plan. The ideas just keep on coming. Oh my goodness, Rachel. Okay, poke that through, open up the prongs. Rotate it. There we go. Put it on a flat surface, press it down. Okay, and now we can take and put that tear and tape adhesive along the sides here. So what we've just done is turned it into a little basket, a basket for goodies. You know, it's not as decorative, but you don't have to throw away those pieces. They can make their own little containers like that. You can get fancier with this if you want to. I fancied this second one up quite a lot more using blending brushes and a couple inks that coordinated with each other. Plus I used this striped pool party ribbon. Got some candies in there. Oh, and the masks, of course. So these are the Adorning Designs decorative masks. Very fun. So got the snowflakes in there, got some stripes. Fun designs. But let's say you wanted your box to be more rectangular and not that purse shape. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to do your folds on the same score lines, but you want to measure this piece here, this panel. This panel is 3 3/4 inch wide by 2 inches tall. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to use some Flirty Flamingo, some cardstock that coordinates with the kit. And I'm just going to cut a strip that is 2 inches and then cut that down to 3 3/4 inches 2 different times. These panels will get applied to the sides here. Okay, so when you add them though, you want to make sure that you are putting your adhesive along here, not along this, and that you are bringing your cardstock right up to the top edge there. You don't want any white showing, so you want to go right up to that top edge and make sure that the corners are positioned in these corners here. You're going to do that to both sides, and then you can go ahead and add a couple other layers like cardstock or designer paper. I'm using the Whimsy and Wonder designer paper and the silver specialty paper, which has 3 different color silvers in it. 2 of them are more purpley. This is the more true silver. So I've done that to both sides, and then I can go ahead and add my tape to these areas. I've added the tape, but I forgot to show you another step that's important. You can do that after the tape has been added or before, or even at the start. So this is 2 inches high, but this is a little bit taller than 2 inches. And that is because it has to angle in when it connects to this piece. So we have to trim that off. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that step after this panel has been added, because we can use this as a guide. We can take and position this edge here at the 2-inch mark. And you can see I've already done it. And then you're going to come in and you're going to trim across. I decided I needed to show that to you. So you can see how it's a little bit over the 2-inch mark. So you're just going to line this up here with 2 inches and trim. And you're removing, gosh, about a 1/16 of an inch. And you're going to do that to each side. And now you'll be able to form that box. The sides will meet up with each other quite nicely. So it's a more rectangular box, has a different look to it. You don't even have to put a handle on it if you don't want to. You can just have some shreddies on the inside and your gift. Or what you can do is you can take one more box base and you can trim it down. So we're going to line up this edge with this edge, and we're going to trim. Now you're going to use up more of your boxes this way, but it is a way to make your box just a little bit different. And on one end, you're going to trim. See these little guides here? I'm using this line as my 1/2 inch mark here, and I'm just going with this score line along that 1/2 inch mark. And I'm going to trim, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut. And this piece can actually be added to the bottom. Now it'd probably be easier if we add it to the bottom with these flaps cut off, so you can either do that by hand, which might be easier at this point. Or you can use your trimmer. Do you know where I'm going with this? So this can be wrapped along the side, and these can get tucked in. Actually, we can even tuck it in here, I suppose. Oh, that would be nice. We might have to tuck it from the outside though, because that's a pretty snug fit. So we'll probably have to start from the outside. So let's go ahead and add, we'll just do this with the seal adhesive, because that'll be quick for video purposes. So we're just going to line up those edges real nice and straight along the bottom. Looks like we need to trim off a little excess here. Ah, yes, that was that 1/16 of an inch, wasn't it? So now we've got that, and we can just bring in these tabs and bring in, well, we could even have that tab on the outside. Oh my gosh, there's so many possibilities. So you could put like a little magnetic closure here or Velcro, and that would actually be much easier to open if we have the tab on the outside. Yes, we will do that. In fact, I think I'm going to add some brads and have it close that way. Oh my gosh, Rachel, this is so much fun. See, I just kind of like decide to do things as I'm doing my videos. All right, so we need a brad up here, and we need a brad right about here. 1, 2. Oops, a little further over. Center it, Rachel. In fact, you should probably have that pierce mat so that you don't poke your fingers. I'm just having too much fun. So we're going to put a brad in. Oh, let's do our fancy brads. That means we're going to have to add black somewhere else though, Rachel. Okay, that's fine. So we got our fancy brads in here. And we're not going to smush it down too hard because we want to have our twine be able to go around, right? So we want that a loose kind of weave. And let's, gosh, we could do either one. I think that's more Poppy Parade though. Let's do the olive color. So what you do is you kind of push your brad up and out like that, and then you start winding. And there, now it's attached here. And we can even take and maybe wind it one more time and then trim it, because it probably won't be coming undone. And then when we close this, see? So cool. Probably have to pop this out a little bit further though. Oh, so cool, you guys. There's our little box. I may decorate it up a little bit more before I actually photograph it, but you got the idea, right? Oh my gosh, that's so fun. And then you just unwind and it opens up. I have one last thing that I want to share with you. I'm going to trim my bag at the 3.5 inch mark from the bottom. You know that idea that we had on the back of the instruction manual, well, or the instruction pamphlet. I started making one and realized that when you put your gift card in here, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. There's like a seam down here. So what you want to do is you want to put adhesive down here and fold up that seam. Otherwise, your gift card is going to cover up, at least with the snowman, it's going to cover up part of his face, and we don't want that happening. So again, fold that over and then put it on there. You can see how you have a little puckering here. Well, we're going to take care of that by bringing in some scrap, and you can use like the tags or whatever. But this is left over from when I trimmed up my snowman to make that one card, and I just hand cut some little rough ovals, just rough ovals out of there to act as the hands of the snowman. So let's take the bag that I've already put some adhesive on, and here's the back side of it. I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive up along the edges back here too, and along the bottom. And you can use your tear and tape. We're just going to add that to the front of the snowman, like so. And then we need our release paper taken off from these little hands, like that. And these will just go right over, because you see how many dimensionals I put on there? A ton. We're just going to put that right over here as if the hands are holding on to the pocket or the bag or whatever. So it's overlapping both the bag and, well, it's overlapping the bag. Now we're going to take our card and we can slip it in there, and it doesn't bow out, it doesn't come out, it doesn't come forward. It's perfect. So if you want to make a few of them for yourself, those are the tips I have. Fold the bottom up and put something over the top. In the sample on the back of the instructions, they have the twine going across to kind of hold this bag, this gusseted bag, from going outward more. So now that you've watched my video, I hope you can see that there's so much more to these kits than meets the eye. With just a few extra supplies and some imagination, you can go beyond and make so much more. Want to give these paper pumpkin kits a try? They're just $22 plus tax per month in the US. Shipping is included. You control which months you get your kits, and there's no commitment or obligation. And by clicking on my personalized link below and starting your subscription with me as your demonstrator, you will have access to my exclusive paper pumpkin project ideas too. Thank you for watching. It builds creativity to think outside the box. To access paper pumpkin kit ideas that I'll share in the future, be sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and my website, because I share even more each month in other special blog posts. In fact, click on my website link below so you can access the visual supply list and view close-up photos of all that I've shared today. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.